Your life, your story, your plan. That's right, your life, your story, your plan. That's what I'm going to talk about today. Hey, your life, your story, your plan. That's what I'm going to talk about today. Again, your life, your story, your plan. This is Tyree Thomas Jr., the blog trucking preacher, also known as the super entrepreneur, because I help anyone be successful, more successful in the business that they're in, to experience more success. Your life, your story. His life. James, in the book of James, in the King James, the old King James version, the version I use, it says, life is like a vapor, other words, it disappears. Your life is your life. You are responsible for your life. Your life as an individual is an experience that God has allowed you to experience. See, in this life right now, you're having a physical experience. How is that? You are a spiritual being having a physical experience that God has allowed you to have. You see, why you a spiritual being? Because you were created by a spirit. God is a spirit, and he that worships him in spirit and in truth. In the beginning, God created. Now, because he's a spirit, everything he created is spiritual. You're a spiritual being enjoying a physical experience. And while you're in this physical experience, you go through this thing called life. You accumulate called life. This experience that you have is called life. It's your physical experience. Now, your life is what God gave you. It's mentioned in the New Testament 9 different times by Apostle Paul that God had no respect of persons. So he gave everybody an opportunity. When you're born, you have an opportunity to experience this thing called life. Now, I know some may be aware of this, but some may not. So therefore, this is why God has me talking about this now. Just because you are experiencing this thing called life does not mean that it's going to go the way that you want. But if you understand that it is your life, then you can create the story. Then the things that you do creates a story about how you lived your life according to the things that you do. Now, how can you live your life? Your life is what you experience. You get what you picture in life. How is that? How do you get what you picture? You want to be whatever you want to be. Picture that in your mind. See, the evidence of that, God pictured in his mind what he wanted the world to be like, and then he spoke it into existence. You can't speak something to become your life without first having a thought. So you have a picture that in your mind, that thought. Thoughts create feelings. Feelings create actions. Actions create results. Again, thoughts create feelings. Think about what you want. Attach a feeling to it. When you think about what you want, you're going to have a feeling that's attached to that thought. That feeling is going to give you the motivation. It's going to give you the inspiration. It's going to give you the energy to start doing. Start doing simply means create the action, perform the actions it takes to get the things done that you want to do, or to have the things that you want to have. And when you have the things that you want to have, that's the result. That also it shows the story of your life. It tells the story of your life. So your life is an experience that you get a chance to live, your physical life. Now, let me say one thing. You're alive from the time God breathed the breath of life in you, and man became a living soul. You're going to always live. When you leave this, when you at the end of your physical experience, you are therefore living forever. If you notice, there is no end to time. Time is an eternity, meaning that there's no end. So when you become alive and you exit this life, you are still, because you are a spirit, and you notice you are created by a spirit of God. God never dies, and neither will you. You are either, when you leave, when you transition from a physical life into a permanent spiritual life, You're either going to live spiritually in heaven or spiritually in hell. Now, if you are not connected with God, when you have that spiritual transition, you're going to experience what they call eternal death. Death means separation. You're already going to be separated from the physical life, which you'll never be able to come back to again. But you're also, if you have not lived the life that you need to live to stay connected to God, you're going to be separated from Him in the spiritual life. And when you're separated from God, you're therefore in hell for the eternity. You'll live in hell. And you'll find that in Revelations. Hell eventually is going to end up in the lake of fire. So that'll be your destiny if you're not with God. Your life, your story. Your story will tell where you're going to spend eternity. Your story is the way you lived your life. Now, if you want to understand how to live your life, if you want to understand how to create your story, I've told you it comes from thoughts. Now, the Bible is the guideline to get to heaven. The Bible is the what to do. Then you have what God has blessed us to understand. You have principles and laws, universal principles and universal laws. The universal principles, the Bible, God's Word, gives you inspiration. God's Word motivates you. It motivates you just simply to get you started. And then it inspires you. Inspiration is the energy that comes from motivation, but it's the energy that keeps you going. It's that inspiration that makes you that keeps you going to do the things and when normally you don't want to. See, the reason why people in their life may start off good but falter or stop doing what it was taking to make them be who they became or who they could become is because they were motivated to get started, but they didn't have anything to keep them going. That's why you need God's Word. His Word is motivation to get you going, but it's inspiration to keep you moving. God's Word is inspiring. It was written by men who were inspired by God. They were inspired to keep writing so that we would have a guideline to live. You can find that in 1 Timothy 3, verse 18. Now, when you are inspired, you will keep moving. And the reason why people don't keep moving is because they become motivated by God's Word, but that God's Word has not been in them enough for them to. Now, this you can understand. God's Word, according to what I experience, makes me feel good to keep doing the things that needs to be done, the positive things I want out of life. It's the what to do, the what you do to stay, to live for God, and to be able to create the story of your life of that which you want to do, have, or be. Now, the Bible is the what to do. Universal principles and universal laws, for we wrestle not against principalities. Universal principles. Unit meaning one, verse meaning word. One God, one word. Universal principles. Verse will mean all. Now, what I'm saying is this. Do not get confused. If you have to look at this again, look at this again. Your life, your story, your plan. Now, the principle is the what to do. Universal laws is the how to do. Now, in order to know what to do, the Bible is there. The what to do. Universal principles are the how to do. Wisdom is the principal thing. Get wisdom. And all I get understanding. When you understand the principle, then the next thing you're going to come to understand universal laws. And universal laws are what governs our life. It's what controls everything in our life. Controls things around us. So when you want to do the things that you need to do, and things get in your way, all you have to do is ask God. And He will control those things around you so they don't keep getting in your way. You want to have the things in life that you want to have, you have to create a plan. But the plan that you create has to be attached, can only be accumulated, it can only be successful through principles and by way of laws. Universal principles is the how to do. Universal laws It's the why we do it. It protects us. And if we get out of line, different things happen according to universal laws to get us back in line. Now, your plan, your life, your story, your plan. Now, I'm not trying to confuse you all, but some